Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Li Wei Tai. Thank you for joining us. In our top stories, the rain that came with tropical depression Tallene caused flooding across Taiwan. City volunteers are mobilized nationwide to bring relief to the affected areas. As the clock ticks down to Dragon Boat Festival, Hsinchu City volunteers prepare more than 3,500 zongzi for care recipients. Later, students of Tzu University's Continuing Education Center in Taipei are proud to showcase their acquired talents at the semester-end exhibition. Though Typhoon Tallene, which weakened to a tropical depression, passed by Taiwan fairly quickly, there is still considerable rainfall that came with the system. As of the morning of June 21st, the southern counties of Kaohsiung and Pingtung have been inundated by downpours in several cities and townships. Heavy rainfall is still expected in the mountain areas, but the northern and central parts of the island will likely see a sunny and drier weekend. In Daniao Village in Taidong's Dawu Township, before the typhoon, the entire village evacuated down the mountains to avoid possible flooding and mudslides. Daniao Village in Taidong's Dawu Township was requested by the county government to evacuate all its inhabitants within a few hours. An announcement is made to the entire village.
There will be heavy rainfall tonight and our village is at risk. For the safety of our villagers, we must evacuate them immediately.
At 2 in the afternoon, as rain and wind come and go, villagers pack lightly for their evacuation. Those without any means of transportation are able to request a ride with the military.
We had to leave. It's an instruction from the village head, so you can't say no.
67 military personnel in the Taidong area have also been dispatched to help escort seniors with limited mobility to the temporary shelter.
We assisted a chronically ill patient to his relative's home at the permanent housing community. The patient was carried onto the van in his bed.
It took a few police officers to persuade the 510 villagers to complete their evacuation to Dawu Junior High School and the old coach station by 6 p.m.
We must be cooperative because it's the grace of the government that we can take shelter here. But undoubtedly, we have encountered some problems while making our way here. There is no bed and no bath, and we are all crammed together.
Though the shelters are far from homely, at least they provide a sturdier defense against the threat of the elements. Before Typhoon Tallene came too close to Taiwan, more than 5,000 people, mostly in the southern parts of the country, were evacuated to safety. At the Shanling DaAi community in Kaohsiung, many families took in relatives who fled their homes in the mountains. Local city volunteers also went around the community to distribute food and other supplies to the evacuees. As Typhoon Tallene moves closer to Taiwan, the rain and wind get stronger in the Shanling DaAi community in Kaohsiung. Volunteers still show up undaunted. When the rain mitigated, volunteers quickly distribute daily necessities and other supplies to each household. Faced with the continuous downpours and the imminent typhoon, those living on the mountains had to evacuate in helicopters with no time to pack their belongings. Many are taking shelter with their family and friends at the Shanling DaAi community and may have to stay for a while.
They can only live here temporarily and sleep on the floor. There might not be enough blankets and food to go around. We conducted surveys and returned today with these supplies.
After several deliveries, volunteers are either soaked in sweat or rain. However, not a second goes to waste as the caregivers bring the supplies directly to those who may be away from home but are at least in safe hands. To prepare for Typhoon Tallene, Tzu established a disaster coordination center at the Tainan chapter, as well as 5 other disaster response centers in various districts, ready to provide instant relief and assistance when necessary. For 3 straight days, volunteers stood ready around the clock in case of emergency.
Prior to the arrival of Typhoon Talim, volunteers in the Tainan Tzu chapter not only established a disaster coordination center, but also stock up relief packs in case of emergency.
Since we will experience high tides, we wanted the district's commissioner leaders to pick up relief packs and instant rice first. In times of need, they are able to use these items right away.
Apart from the Tainan chapter, disaster coordination centers are also set up in 5 other contacting points, and volunteers go on a 24-hour standby.
In the low-lying areas, we asked our brothers and sisters to check on residents.
We take turns every 6 hours.
Every night, we have 3 brothers stationed here.
As the typhoon passed through Taiwan, volunteers all stay alert and keep in close contact.
It is an opportunity for us to get aid supplies ready and to care for local residents, as well as find out the situation in each district.
Volunteers work together in united efforts to ensure the safety of all residents and also pray sincerely for a world free of disasters.
In Taichung, a Tzu Emergency Response Center was also established. Volunteers took turns listening to the news for the latest weather updates and prepared relief packages to make sure they're ready in the event of disasters.
Gathering the latest updates on the weather conditions island-wide, this is early Wednesday morning at Tzu Disaster Coordination Center in Taichung.
Our brothers and sisters are staying in touch with all areas via wireless radios all day long.
The volunteers also prepare relief packs. Toothbrush, toothpaste, shampoo, and towels are all packaged together, ready for distribution. They have also prepared cartons of bottled water in anticipation of possible water shortage after Typhoon Talim passes.
We are preparing these items for transportation so that we can distribute them at a moment's notice.
There is no Typhoon Day off for Tzu staff, who stand ready to help. Kitchen volunteers also have been hard at work since this morning. Some Good Samaritans use the day off to also come help out.
To have this sudden day off is making me uneasy, so I thought to offer my help.
As the day turns to night, the rain continued sporadically. The volunteers stay vigilant and pray for a safe night.
Staying in Taichung, although the city decided to close down businesses and schools on Wednesday in preparation of the typhoon, the Taichung Tzu Hospital remained open. Before the storm arrived, staff and volunteers worked together and made sure the hospital was ready for possible flooding. Though the city of Taichung had closed down on Wednesday in preparation of Typhoon Talim's arrival, the Taichung Tzu Hospital remained open. In the hospital's main lobby, staff and volunteers gathered to pray.
It's always the darkest before the dawn. I think we're destined for a better future.
Vegetarian zongzi and fruits are prepared for the staff that stayed on duty. At the surgery ward, staff give up their day off to watch over their patients.
Our co-workers at the surgery ward are a dedicated bunch. Thanks to them for helping us save lives. We are very grateful.
We have over 45 certified nurses serving in the surgery ward. I think in the future, the number will expand to over 50 as we receive and treat more patients. We shall continue to upgrade our services.
At the hospital, patients are treated like family.
Our doctor has given us confidence, and this hospital's modern equipment further puts me at ease over my decision to leave my husband here to undergo surgery.
Outside the hospital, sandbags have been stacked high to guard against possible flooding.
All of our medical and administrative personnel have showed up for work. Not only have they taken stock of the hospital and cleaned up drainage routes before the typhoon, they've also set up sandbags to guard areas that flood easily.
With modern hardware, professional staff and family-like service, the Taichung Tzu Hospital is ready to save lives whether there is a typhoon or not. As Taoyuan County is still struggling to recover from last week's heavy rain before Typhoon Talim hit on Wednesday, Tzu Chi volunteers traveled to various communities in Taoyuan with food and handmade trinkets to wish residents peace and safety.
代表全球慈济人。
As Typhoon Talim is just around the corner, Tzu Chi volunteers arrive at this local community to deliver their blessings and reminders to door to door.
Whether it be water outages or power outages, the instant rice can be cooked in cold water too.
With Tzu Chi's instant rice, the local residents don't have to worry about going hungry. Afraid of the possible floods, some residents also prepare themselves with homemade flood barriers.
The materials are from recyclables.
This homemade floodgate is made from plastic mat and is very easy to use. Meanwhile, 72-year-old Chen Zhuhua, who is the head of this community, kindly leads the way for the volunteers.
平安啊！你刚刚为什么要带我们来？怕我们不知道路，是不是？
不是，我怕你们不知道这几点这样子啊，顺便碰到话就顺便带走来。
这边有没有算还比较 OK 啊？旁边还有，要小心。所以都加票你无看，大家哦平安嘛。平安。
Thanks to the Tzu Chi volunteers, the local residents regained smiles on their faces.
The other day, you came with a raft to deliver lunch boxes to us. The food was very tasty.
Saturday is Dragon Boat Festival, and to celebrate, Tzu Chi volunteers from Hsinchu invited residents to join them in making zongzi, or sticky rice dumplings, for the holidays. 100 people came together to make 3,500 zongzi, which were given as gifts to care-receiving households.
Although it is only 7 in the morning, volunteers here at the Tzu Chi Liaison House in Hsinchu are already busy washing bamboo leaves and frying up ingredients. Working as one, their goal is to wrap 3,500 zongzi today.
We will give some of these to the fire department, as well as our care recipients, so we need to wrap each one carefully.
Volunteers invited members of the public to join them, and the turnout was much better than expected, with over 100 people arriving to help. With so many hands, the wrapping of the 3,500 zongzi only took 3 hours.
Last night, I told my son that we had to get up at 5 this morning to help wrap the zongzi. This morning, as soon as the alarm went off, he was up and ready to work. We have only recently joined Tzu Chi and love being volunteers. Every weekend, I tell him that we are going to be volunteers, and he's so happy to hear that.
For me, this is a very different Dragon Boat Festival, as this is the first time I have joined to help wrap zongzi. I found that the feeling was very special.
Volunteers take the still hot zongzi and deliver them to local care recipients. Knowing that the volunteers are coming, 70-year-old Grandma Zhen waits at her door to greet them. Volunteers next visit the house of diabetes sufferer Miss Wang. As her condition has recently worsened, volunteers stop by often to share their love and care. In the back of the volunteers' car are bag after bag of zongzi that they will be delivering to care recipients throughout their community as a way to express their support and love.
Still on the topic of Dragon Boat Festival, but moving to Guanshan Town in Taidong County, the Tzu Chi Hospital and a local kindergarten teamed up to make sticky rice dumplings for Tzu Chi care recipients to share in the festivities.
The nutritionist explains the ingredients, and Tzu Chi volunteers show the children step by step how to wrap the zongzi. With the help of volunteers, these little hands are turning out delicious and healthy sticky rice dumplings. This hands-on event is not only teaching the children how to make this traditional snack, but also showing them the joy of doing good deeds for others.
Our children are really lucky to be living in such a wonderful and resourceful community. I think the biggest accomplishment of today is that the children learn how to give.
The Guanshan Tzu Chi Hospital staff and Tzu Chi volunteers visit homes days before the Dragon Boat Festival, sharing with care recipients the sticky rice dumplings the children made.
My thanks to Guanshan's Tzu Chi brothers and sisters for sharing the vegetarian zongzi with the elders so they can join in on the Dragon Boat Festival celebrations.
我们再找时间看你哈，阿嬷。好，我们常常过来看你啊。不会不会哈。好，我们要帮你挂号、挂眼科、挂好这通知你。
Tzu Chi volunteers care for the elderly like their own grandparents. The love, regular visits, and medical care are helping to cheer up Guanshan Township.
Tzu Chi University Continuing Education Center in Taipei is currently hosting its semester-end exhibition at the Tzu Chi office in eastern Taipei. Students who study calligraphy, flower arrangement, and painting showcase their artworks, while those who study performing arts took to the stage to show their talent. A familiar Tzu Chi song is being performed through traditional Chinese instruments. Next, at the Tzu Chi Eastern Taipei office, a group of young children demonstrate their kung fu prowess. The instructor says studying wushu helps young children focus and still their thoughts.
Through exercising, the children learn to calm their hearts and achieve inner peace. We coach them to do this not by strictly forbidding them from doing this or that, but by guiding them so that they know how to better themselves.
At the TCU Continuing Education Center semester-end exhibition, even the aromatherapy class is participating to show people how to deal with stress and stay relaxed.
Aromatherapy is utilizing different scents and fragrances to help us cleanse our mind and adjust our thinking. We can then become more positive as we deal with our daily challenges.
For the grand finale, the sign language class took to the stage to perform segments of the Water's Repentance musical to display Tzu Chi's humanity and Buddha's Dharma.
I like to cultivate good affinity with everyone. Through performing sign language songs, I can interact with many people and show them the Dharma so they may discover joy and happiness.
On display are also works by students studying calligraphy, flower arrangement, and other types of arts. The public event is open to all to attend. There are 5 certified Tzu Chi volunteers in the African country of Lesotho. Due to language barriers, spreading Master Zheng Yan's teachings by word of mouth is difficult and time-consuming. To help, the head of the Lesotho Liaison Office, Chen Meijun, installed DaAi TV in 6 households so that the Master's message can be accessed more easily for the volunteers and their communities.
At this year's Tzu Chi Overseas Training Seminar, one finds Chen Meijun hard at work, recording and gathering participants' impressions. As the head of Lesotho Liaison Office, last year Chen also helped install DaAi TV in 6 households.
We picked 6 households in which we decided to install DaAi TV. A week after we installed the station, they started to give back.
In Lesotho, the master's teachings are passed on by word of mouth. However, due to the language barriers, communication is difficult. Chen Meijun hopes that watching DaAi TV can improve the situation.
With DaAi TV, they now know what we have been saying is true. We are not simply saying that they should blindly follow the master's teachings because we say they should. They can see for themselves the teachings and also have a chance to see every day how volunteers around the world are caring for the poor and the sick. Watching all of this, they have been truly moved.
DaAi TV gives volunteers spiritual motivation, and with their newfound ease of access, even a kindergarten can become a place of practice.
She runs a kindergarten and says that she has her students watch DaAi TV too. It is moving to know that they can now get information from around the world right away, such as where there is a disaster. They are also more motivated to participate in caring for people in their community.
DaAi TV not only transmits inspiring stories to Taiwan and the world, but for many volunteers outside of Taiwan, it is the lifeline that connects them with the spiritual heartland of Tzu Chi, where it serves as a source of solace and inspiration.
In Xiamen, in China's Fujian province, 78-year-old Tzu Chi care recipient Peng Hua has not seen her incarcerated son for 5 years. Seeing how much Peng Hua misses her child and hoping to cheer her up, Tzu Chi volunteers accompany the senior to visit her son in prison.
Seeing that Tzu Chi volunteers have come calling, 78-year-old Peng Hua excitedly welcomes them. Always a cheerful soul, the senior's emotions gets the best of her when she speaks about her son.
I worked hard to make money to raise my son, and now this.
When Peng Hua's son was 18, he accidentally injured his classmate fatally and was sentenced to lifelong imprisonment. Every Sunday, Peng Hua waits for his phone call, but the phone has not been ringing. To cheer up the senior, the volunteers decided to accompany her to visit her son in prison. The senior's happiness is evident.
I'm very happy to drive Grandma Peng Hua to see her son. She has not seen her son in a while, so I'm happy to do this for her.
You guys are so nice. I have never met anyone as nice as you. I don't know how to repay you.
Upon returning, Peng Hua says that her son's behavior in jail has been good. In 2014, he will be eligible for parole. The family will then be reunited.
The Tzu Chi Hospital in Hualien, Taiwan recently held its annual physical fitness test day for the entire staff. At the end of the show, we find out what exercises were involved to raise awareness of the importance of staying in shape, especially at the workplace. Thank you for watching DaAi Headlines. Goodbye.